Going live, going live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me come into your homes and talk to you, have a conversation. I wish it was over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a good drink, but I appreciate it that you all are willing to comfortably have a conversation in a peaceful manner. I want to say hello to all the people in YouTube land. I want to say hello to all the people in Google land, TikTok land, Parley land, uh, Facebook land, Instagram land, and many more. WeMe land. So hopefully, Telegram land. So hopefully we can start this conversation about the elections. You know, the elections have been on the front page of every major newspaper, in the lips of every newscaster, commentator, opinionated opinionated programs where people use the headlines to create opinions and not help people think, but feed them information. And remember, and I've been saying this in my previous videos and this one too, and I know I'm live, and but I can't seem to get the chat moving. I gotta learn how to do that. So bear with me in my learning process. But in all this learning process, I'm still studying and I'm still working with Edmund Hollingsworth source. We're good friends, but he's kind of like a hermit. He's kind of like a hermit individual. Great skill, great skill, but he's not a people person. I don't know whether to say fortunate or unfortunate, but nonetheless, that's what I see, and that's what I communicate to you guys. Well, let's start the evening by talking about, and we're talking about the elections. And it's kind of like a never-ending topic because so many things keep coming on. And like I said at the beginning of the conversation, everybody's talking about the elections. I mean, all the commentators. There's no. I mean, you turn any TV, even the funny people are talking about Stephen Colbert and Trevor and all this people that are in the funny business have all this sarcastic monologues or dialogues or talking with sidekicks about the election. That's pretty much it. So the election surrounds Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, uh, uh, Mike Pence, and of course Donald Trump. Now Donald Trump has become a figure of attention. He's always wanted the attention, and now he's got it. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to give up the office because he had so much attention. Everybody looked at him. Everybody revered him. Everybody thought that he was the greatest thing since pumpkin pie or fruitcake. Yet that was just a little bit of a. I want to say it was a moment in time, kind of like a balance sheet. Since he's a businessman, so he says he is. He should know what a balance sheet is. So it's just like a balance. His moment was just like a balance sheet. It was just a moment in time, a snapshot. And he claimed. So here's some of the irony behind all this. People out there from Virginia, from West Virginia, from Ohio, from Michigan, from Wisconsin, from Illinois, from North and South Dakota, from Nebraska, from Wyoming, from Montana, Wyoming, my home state, or my growing up state, should I say? I gotta divide my heart in three pieces. My young heart goes to Wyoming, where I grew up. My middle youth, my middle ground is in California, and my last ground is here in Texas. So California has its issues, and I know Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to make a difference from going from an action figure to a governor, but I think he was bamboozled by a lot of people, and he wasn't able to. I mean, there's no script. He can't follow a script. He can't follow a director's advice on how to be the hero of the screen. And good thing I brought Arnold Schwarzenegger into the picture because that's what the expectation of the people was. Remember, he's an action hero. He comes in the nick of time to save the people. He takes the hits. He takes the blows. He hits back and he knocks out the bad guy. He saves the people from the bad guys. He's right there in the middle of the action, and he defeated the Predator, which was an alien. He managed to outsmart him and outwhip him, and he was strong, and he was able to get him to get the guy the alien down because he was smarter and he was strong also. So he would have been a good trophy for the aliens, but he managed to outmaneuver the aliens, and the people were saved, and they had no fear anymore. And in other of his movies, he's done the same thing. He does the same thing in Terminator. You know, he's the savior. He's going to save uh, Sarah, and he goes in and saves her. First, he wants to kill her. Now, then he wants to save her. So, a Terminator movie basically themes around the salvation of somebody coming in, strong-willed, hard body, big guy, tough guy, is confident of himself. He gets hit. He takes the hits. He falls down. He gets up. He keeps fighting, and he seems to win at the end of the game. You know, pretty much what Donald Trump wanted to convey, and he did convey it. Oh, let him come after me. Let him be. I'm gonna be strong here for you. You don't worry about it. I'll take all the hits. I'll be all. Everything can be on me, and I'm gonna save you. You're gonna be saved. You're gonna be. I'll protect you. I'm the one who has the means, and I know who they are. You know, I got the money. I got all these friends in Goldman Sachs, and I got all these friends in Bank of America, and I got these friends over there in the elite. Edmund Musk is my friend. You know, it's nice to name drop when you're a millionaire, but sometimes people who are millionaires, they're not exactly the most popular people. They might have a lot of money because they're in the right place at the right time, and they happen to. In the case of Donald Trump, this is not the case. What I'm going to say, but there's people who started from scratch. You know, they had no money. They didn't have nobody giving them an inheritance. They just were going to be there and work their ass out and build it and save money and multiply it and find ways to capitalize on those opportunities. And they were happened to come into the right place at the right time and make more money and get more money and build up the money. And soon they were in a top organization. It happens to people. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't happen to me. I wish it would. I wish Joe Biden would say, "Hey, you're the kind of guy I'm looking for." He would call me, but I don't think so. Anyway, or Kamala Harris. But anyway, the main point here is Donald Trump. Back in 2016, he won the race, and back in 2020, he lost the race. Now he has a history already as a businessman, so-called businessman, where he loses. He loses a lot of things. I mean, business deals. He loses business deals. It's not. It's kind of like a lesser of a well, pretty much a recap one person to another. George Bush with a Donald Trump. They both have rich daddies, and they both got bailed out by their daddies. They both inherited a bunch of money from their daddies. They don't know how work is. They know how to direct work. They know how to deal with it. I mean, they try to know. I'm not sure they do know how to deal with things. With the fine points, they probably miss the fine points. They know the big strokes, but they don't know the little strokes, and they don't know the fine points. So somewhere along the way, he didn't pick up on any of those, and he just thinks that he knows, but he doesn't know. But anybody who inherits $1 billion or more, that's a good chunk of change. I wish I could inherit at least 5 million. That would be nice. That would give me good leverage to clean up my act and multiply it. But anyway, that's where we begin our story. He inherits all this money, but then you got other people who don't inherit, and they become very successful, and they're not exactly want to be the popular kid in the block, and they keep too much to themselves, and they're in circles. They show up in circles, but that's about it. They don't want to be that flashy individual that catches everybody's attention, that catches the attention of the media. Over time, they become very noticeable, but they try to stay away from all the media in the press. They will stand out and talk to the press and talk to people in those realms, but they pretty much stay away. In the case of Trump, that is not the case. He wanted the media always. Ever since I started studying him, I said it in another video, he always wants the media. So let's jump straight into the topic. Why did Trump win in 2016? He claims, and I'm using his words, he claims that he won because of Barack Obama. Grant, I want to give him that point. He wins that point. And that point is that many people were upset with Barack Obama. And it's important that Joe Biden listens to this video because a lot of people and many of the citizens were not happy with Barack Obama, especially in his second term. In his first term, people were getting acclimated to him. The media helped him a lot. I want to tell you, the media did do a great service on Barack Obama. He stood out. He did all this fancy footwork, and he pretty much got the ball rolling. The crisis was there, so it didn't quite center on Barack Obama. Many of the criticism that he received, Barack Obama, was respect to the crisis, but the crisis through the bailout and through many other factors got ironed out, and it began a growth process, and that's pretty much established. So in his second term, that growth process begins to become more palpable. And I'll just fast forward the clock a little bit and then I'll be back. It's kind of like going forwards and backwards. And fast forward, that momentum of growth spilled over into Donald Trump's period. So he brags about he created the economy, which is not true. He did not create a good economy. He didn't make good decisions with respect to the economy. He he condemned and he spoke bad. He said bad jokes about the people, with ill will. These are not jokes like the Stephen Colbert jokes. No, these are ill will jokes with venom towards the Federal Reserve, towards the people making economic decisions. Even in his own economic analysis people, in the White House. He always mocked them in a negative format. He belittled them. So that didn't come across too well in making the decisions to actually create the right economic and fiscal policies that he create the right economic and fiscal policies that he needed in order to expand the market. Because right off the bat, he began an economic warfare. That's exactly what he did. He began an economic warfare. Now, for all those people in Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, you probably don't understand what an economic warfare is unless you lived it. Here in San Antonio, I had the opportunity, San Antonio, Texas, that is, I had the opportunity to see a warfare among two grocery stores, grocery chain HEB, which is a grocery chain, a regional grocery chain that took on Kroger, which is a nationwide grocery chain, in a price battle. It's kind of like an economic war battle. That's a very clear analogy of what I'm talking about when I say economic warfare. This was a warfare between two stores. They were fighting in prices. They would give double coupons. They would get triple coupons, triple discounts, special offers, everything they could, and they would get supplied and they would live on the margin. And who won? HEB won. They had better supplies. They had their own factory, which made them all a step ahead of Kroger. So that gave them that leverage that they needed when they had their own factory, their own milk factory, their own ice cream factory, their own cheese factory, their own canning factory for vegetables. So that gave them that leverage in order to maintain good profits. But still, you're looking at a Kroger who was working basically out of private labels, and hopefully you understand what private labels are. And Walmart has a lot of private labels. Uh, what's it called? Uh, True Value. Those are private labels of Walmart. Great Value. Those are private labels. Excuse me. And and that's exactly what I'm talking about. That Trump started an economic warfare, which devastated the country. I mean, just flatten it out. What the black guy was doing, and excuse me if you think I'm being racist or anything, I'm not. I just feel like I have the right to call him a black man because I marched in the freedom marches with Martin Luther King. With all due respect to the Honorable Martin Luther King, I was in those freedom marches. And I did see a lot of things that I see today that represents a lot of things that happened in those freedom marches that I condemn. And that's why the police have a lot of blame on their behalf because they don't do their job correctly. That's basically it. They're not peace officers. They're hostile officers. They're toxic officers. So that's a whole different topic for another time. That will address the police system. But I want to bring and let's go back to this economic warfare. That started with Donald Trump. So whatever Barack Obama, the black man, started, the momentum to go up, Donald Trump switched the curve to go down. So it created a plateau on that curve where we weren't growing. We weren't growing. We just flat down. He promised all kinds of investments coming in here that he negotiated. None of that came. I never saw anything happening in the states that he did. Michigan, for example, Ohio. To this day, I don't see those investments there. Big giant investment, multi-million dollar investment. Steel, I see the same steel that we always see, that I've always seen. So I don't see the steel in great volumes coming out of some steel factory. I still see the same steel, and I still see the minuscule steel production that we have. And we have a lot of laminated steel that comes from the outside. We import a lot of steel because that's more cost effective to bring in it's quality steel. I'm not saying it's bad steel. It's quality steel, but we still bring it in. We still bring it into the U.S. We import it, and that's another area of the gross domestic product that he ruined. Instead of having a better import export balance, he flipped it around and made it a import export imbalance. See how I said it first? I said export import, then I said import export. That's the difference right there. And that difference is this economic warfare that he created because he's the big brain. He has a big head. He does have a big head, a big head full of hot air. He's a douchebag, and he says he's got a big education. Oh man, that's another bullshit. It has be a big education, my ass. And he's gonna talk to me and say, "Oh, you can't talk to me about big education. You don't have it." Shit, man, he doesn't have it. I tell him right back, "Hey, man, what are you talking about? You don't have it. You don't display no academic standard in what you're saying. You don't say nothing. You just bullshit people. You crap people. You rip people. You insult people. You tell people a bunch of lies about how bad they are, which they're not so bad, but you tell them they're bad, and people think they're bad because you think they're bad, because you're the head honcho, because you're the big man. That's what when we started the conversation. Remember, we talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's being the hero. It's kind of like the superhero. He's a hero. He can't. He beat the predator. He did the different movies, and he was always the tough guy that everybody say, "Yeah, he saved us. Yeah, he's the man. He's a man's man." No, when he became governor, he wasn't no man's man. He flopped the state, and then Ken Newsom's trying to bring back the state, and he's not doing a good job either. It's a hard deal. It's a hard deal. I mean, there's no joke about it. It's a hard deal to run and manage a state that you're talking about a big economic state like California. You're running a nation. It's a big endeavor. You got to be level headed. You got to be cool. You got to stay in balance, and not only emotionally, basically emotionally. That's one of the big assets that you become emotionally balanced, not imbalanced. Keep a level head. Think. Know. Understand you what variables you have to deal with. It's a hard game. It's a hard deal to be a manager of it. So Trump can't manage an airline. He flopped that one out. So where's the airline? He doesn't have it. So he flopped the casinos. Where's the casinos? He doesn't have them. He flopped the beauty pageant. Where's the beauty pageant? Where all those beautiful women? He flopped them. Now in TV land, when the people want something to happen, it's not the guy who's a character, whether it's a reality show or a semi-reality show or a sitcom or a movie. It's not the actors or the people who play the part or have a role to play who decide how it's going to be good or bad. No, there's somebody else casting the directions, casting the instruction, telling people what the environment is, saying what it is, creating the impact, creating the atmosphere, giving it the effects that they want in order for people who are the viewers not only be entertained but be in suspense and see this happening. So in The Apprentice, Donald Trump, they created all the so the people who were incompetent, he would say, "You're fired." So he always had great people. So the great people that he has today, I don't see them great like they portrayed in The Apprentice. All this are great people. They do projects and they're going to maximize benefits and they're going to rip up. They're going to create a lot of wealth and they're going to rip us off. That's what they're going to do. They're going to steal from us. That's scam us. The word he likes to use, rip off. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to rip us off. And that's what he's doing to a lot of people. He's ripping us off. In 2016, I voted for him, people. That should count for something. I'm an independent voter. That should count for something. I have conservative values. That should count for something. I have honor. That should count for something. I've worked with the military. That should count for something. So it's all in what it counts. I have morals. I have a good moral base. I have honor. I have good values that are conservative, but values that are also well balanced. I mean, why would anybody want to destroy the gay people, committing a genocide on the gay people? Why would anybody want to do that? I mean, you have values, and you think gays is something that's deplorable. Well, one, it's not deplorable. I mean, it's not the norm to be gay. It's not biblically based to be gay. It's not a natural thing to be gay. It's a lifestyle. Be gay. They want to be women, but they came out men. Some women want to be men. They came out women. Somewhere in their psyche, there's a there's a twisted information line that has provided the wrong information to the person, and now they think one's a woman and the other one's a man. Yet they're opposite sexes of each other. And one likes men and the other one likes women. So it's a very complex situation that those people live in and conflicted. When I was growing up, they used to kill the gay. I was growing up in Evanston, in the state of Wyoming, in Idaho, in Utah, and Montana. So I got to see, not because I wanted to see, not because they took me to see. I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when that situation took place, and they would kill so-called Christian and conservative valued man would kill another human being just because their lifestyle wasn't the same as theirs, and they didn't see that this person was not all together there. He had some loose screws, and they chose a lifestyle that they wanted to be women, and the women wanted to. Yet on the women's side, the lesbians were less detectable because they were women. For some reason, society cut the women some slack. So women could be with other women, and a lot of people, I mean, society as a whole didn't see that as something bad, even though they would not display it openly. Yet uh, the persons knew that they were lesbians and they liked other women. So it's a very unique situation that happens in the LGBT community. Now they have the transgender, and there's always been some people who've been transgender since hundreds of years back. Yet it was until the big urban areas that people kind of got disappeared in the big mix of people. They weren't exactly seen like in small communities. They didn't stood out like sore thumbs because there was so much people around that people couldn't notice somebody else. They noticed everybody, and at the same time, they didn't notice anybody. It's called the blind effect. You see many, but you don't see them. But when you're in a few, you see a lot. Interesting, right? So keep eye on this. That Donald Trump came across as that type of person, the hero, the one who does it all, the one who's a savior, and the one who wants to take all the punishment for everybody else. And because he takes all the punishment, you don't have to take it, and then you're going to be okay. You're going to be saved. You're going to be in a place where you got total freedom. And on one side, he said, "Yeah, you're going to have freedom, and you're going to have, and I'm going to put America first." Well, I always wondered about that America first because his actions and what he didn't reflect an America first. His actions, he would say one thing to the press and to the world, and behind the scene, he would do something different. His people would do something different than what he was saying, which caught me strange that he would say one thing and do something else behind. He would give an order different than what he was talking about. Now, that could be part of his uh, he wants to be secretive. Everything is hush hush with him, top secret. He doesn't want to know people to know. But there are some things that people need to know. I mean, some things they don't need to know. When he killed al Baghdadi, he wasn't saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to the Middle East and shoot al Baghdadi." I mean, who in their right mind says? I mean, I remember when George W. Bush talked about the war and all this. But when they went to war, they went to war. Period. Whether Saddam Hussein was warned, whether George Bush said it 3 days before they invaded Iraq or not, that other guy wasn't expecting it that close. So where is the fallacy behind? Oh well, he said it, and they were waiting for him. When they went in, Saddam Hussein was not waiting for him. He thought it was a bluff. And when he found out that the Americans were going in and started to attack air first, they were running around like chickens without a head, getting their gear and equipment and whatever soldiers they had, which they didn't have a lot of soldiers because they exhausted the soldiers when they went into Kuwait and they went into that war that George S.W. Bush was the one who was the president in those days, and he was the one who did that war with Iraq because Iraq was invading Kuwait, and we went in there to save them. That Operation Desert Storm. I don't know if you remember that one. So it's on the mind. Sometimes you can say it 2 to 3 days. He says it. He says a lot of things that he's going to do. Like for example, right now when he's talked about the election, he said there was going to be fraud. Well, he began to say fraud from a whole year before. A year before the elections, 12 months before the election, he started to talk about fraud and corruption. So I say, look into the mirror because a whole year before, you talking about electoral fraud, electoral corruption, uh, rigged elections. Are you trying to tell me that the Democrats are doing that when it's more likely that you are doing it and you're preparing the launch of a corrupt invasion to rig the elections so they can come in your favor because you so desperately want them. You so desperately want to be president. You are you are willing to take it all the way to hell so they can rip off. Now I'm gonna use your words. That's your favorite word, rip off. You want to rip off Joe Biden from his electoral win. So why did he lose? Why did Barack Obama lose according to Donald Trump? According to Donald Trump, Barack Obama lost because he made all the fatal mistakes and nobody liked him, especially the people who were white didn't like him. There was division already between the blacks. There was a division between the browns, and there was a division between all the other ethnic races out there. Yeah, Barack Obama brought some division into this world. He started the divide. I mean, you can say George W. Bush started, but he actually didn't quite do that big of a deal on the divide because he was too concerned with the war, and most of his presidency was dealing with the war and the after war. But when Barack Obama came in, he did start a divide. He started the division of the country, chopping the country apart. If Barack Obama did one thing is divide the country, begin the dividing process. So when Donald Trump came in, I would give him that point. He won because of Barack Obama. If Barack Obama had worked hard to unify the country and not do any of the bullshit that he did, a lot of the malarkey using Joe Biden's word, he did a bunch of malarkey that he shouldn't have done with respect to immigration, with respect to gun trade, Operation Fast and Furious. That didn't go too well, and not helping the blacks, not helping the minorities, not creating a better environment. I mean, yeah, you leveraged the country, you bailed out the automobile industry. Yeah, that's true. It all happened, but that was in your watching the first term and sliding into the second term. You began a big divide by saying that you were Muslim and that you liked the Muslim people and blah blah blah. So I mean, as a president, you should not be part of a religion. You should not be practicing your religion. You should not be preaching your religion. You are non-political. You are a political figure, a public servant who leads, manages, administers, and leads a country. And you failed at that, Barack Obama. I hate to say that, but it's true. And that's why Donald Trump won. Face the facts as well. Come 2020, because all the flip flops that Donald Trump did, that I've been talking about from the beginning, and his negation, and his aberrations, and his self conceitment, and all the negatives that goes along with narcissism and all this other stuff, plus the political platform that he was saying America first, which we don't know. Let's make America great. I don't really know what those put America first. How how do you put America first when you're dividing the world, the country more? If the other guy left it divided, you didn't bring it together. You created a bigger divide. I mean, we're polarized, totally polarized. Now we got the white supremacists that think that they got a chunk of the country. You got Texas and a bunch of other states that said, let's join and let's secede the country. What are these people thinking? Let's say, for example, let's just play with a what if scenario. What if the country actually, what is it, 17 states, they decide to pull out, succeed the country? What are they going to do? They're going to be little countries, a bunch of little countries standing by their own. I mean, they're back to square one because they're one little country. Has to have their own constitution, have to have their own rules, have to have their own method, has to have their own processes. They have to have their own legislation, their own Supreme Court. They're back to square one. What does people think? That Paxton guy, that AG, what's Greg Abbott thinking? Mr. Ironside, what are you thinking? I call you out, Greg Abbott, Ironside. You know that character Ironside? He knew he had a clear purpose in his life. You don't. How do you become governor? I don't know. I wasn't here. I had to step out of Texas for a while, but I'm back. And what I see is worse than when I left it. It's terrible. It's terrible. Then you got this AG, which you have no way of controlling the ding dong, and telling him, "Hey, wait a minute, what the hell are you doing?" No, you went ahead with him. You supported him. That's why he went ahead and submitted this lawsuit to the Supreme Court, um, to bring down, what is it, 5 states? And I want to say Texas has the authority to legislate on behalf of the other states. Is that what that AG Paxton is saying? That he has the authority to legislate over the other states? That the other states' legislation is crap, and then you need the Texas legislation to just run the state? Is that what he's saying? And then you got a politician who says that, here from Texas, Texas legislature, who stood up and said that we should succeed and become an independent country. We were an independent country at one time. I hope he knows that, because if he doesn't know that, then what kind of bullshit is he saying? We were an independent country at one time. That's why we're the Lone Star State, because we were an independent country. We weren't part of the United States. Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston were the ones who were the middlemen or the negotiators to be accepted into the United States of America, to be part of a sovereign country who has states with relative autonomy. I hope he knows that too. That's where the Federalist Papers come in this relative autonomy. We're not a federalist, a federation type government. We're a republic which has relative autonomous states that govern themselves in a great manner. I hope he knows that. I hope Mr. Paxton knows that. Or what the hell he's doing up there? What I mean, there's something wrong with we the people. If we are putting those people on as leaders and they're going to represent us, that means there's something wrong with we the people. I agree with a funny man who said that, who said that precisely. I don't want to attribute that to myself, because he said it. This funny man said, there's something wrong with, excuse me, we the people. We the people are the ones who are in a bad shape, because we're choosing these leaders who are a bunch of not only assholes, but people who have no empathy, no honor, no love for country, no love for God. They're apostates. They're heathens. Robertson, a big evangelical, has this program, and he's putting down Joe Biden, and I'm an independent voter. I'm not a Republican, Mr. Pat Robertson. I've been an independent voter for a long time, and I stand on my own. And I'm a conservative, and I voted for Trump. And now I feel that Trump bamboozled me. Now, you like to be bamboozled? I think you do. I think you like to be bamboozled. That's my point of view towards you, Pat Robertson. I think you're an apostasy, a heathen. You don't believe in Jesus Christ. You don't care about Jesus Christ if you care more about Donald Trump. Choose your priorities, Pat Robertson, and all the other Christians that are out there. There's an old man over there in Tennessee who's an old pastor who's been around for 44 years, and now he's standing up there. We're graving on, we're in a terrible situation. What kind of pastor is he? What kind of is he leading the flock into the right direction, or do he want to kill all these people? Do we are we following Jesus Christ, or are we following some ding dong who thinks he's a pastor, who thinks he's appointed from God? Many of these people decided to take that career. See, it's like any other career: nursing career, police career, doctor career, lawyer career, management career, administration career, psychology career. You name the career, pastors, theologians are a career all on its own. At least the Catholic Church is pretty clear on what they do and what they're. It's clear on their path, and at least a few of them, a handful, say that they've been devoted to God, to Jesus Christ, and they kneel down and say, I am rendering myself to God. Where is that in the pastures that I technically see? I don't see that. I don't see their love for Christ. I don't see their resemblance to Christ. No, there is no such thing. I don't see that. Because why? That's a good question. Why? Why are these pastors all of a sudden in favor of Donald Trump? Not that I hate the man. I don't care about the man. I care about we the people. That's what I care. My purpose is to talk to defend the people because I am part of the people. I'm a working man. I have 2 jobs. I eat 1 meal a day to pay the bills, to not be backlogged in rent, in paying bills, and paying the utilities, and paying my doctor bills. So I'm going through this sacrifice. That doesn't mean I don't have the academic credentials. I do. But I'm no longer a young whippersnapper, and people don't want to hire me. But that's okay. I'm not blaming, and I'm not whining, and I mean it's just stating the facts so you understand where I'm coming from. This is an understanding, a conversation of understanding. This is not a whining deal like Donald Trump is whining that everybody's against him and that he's a tough guy that he can hold them off. They let him bang on me and then no. There's a group of people behind him. That's what empowers him in addition to himself. He's already a bully. He only needs the backing. Any bully that you see out there in the real world, just plain bully, he's not standing alone being a bully. He's always has people behind him cheering him up to say, "Hey, you're a tough guy. Look at it. You push him around. He's a mimic. He's a wimp. Yeah, you got him. You kid him. You hit him." And yeah, you got all these people who cheer him up, who the cheerleaders to the bully. That's what Trump is. He wants to be cheerleader. Ah, yeah, you're the tough guy. You went up there to NATO and told them that they haven't paid their bill. He doesn't even know what NATO is. He doesn't even know what the North American Treaty Organization is, how the treaty became formed, how what was the commitment of the U.S., what was the purpose of the U.S. establishing the NATO alliance. Does he know that? No, he doesn't. He doesn't reflect that by going in and saying, "Oh, hey, you got to pay more. Hey, you got to pay more. You got to pay more." Nobody pays, so you got to increase your pay. Just giving orders because he's a bully country. So the U.S. now is a bully country. I mean, in addition to we being imperial. I mean, the imperial is relative now, and we here we are. Excuse me. Here we are. So, are we, let me ask this question, are we in the midst of going through any conflict that's going to stress our country? Or are we going to think and say, were we bamboozled? And you were bamboozled by Donald Trump. So are we going to have a conflict? Are the Proud Boys going to rule us? Another group of bullies? Is the white supremacist going to run us? Another group of bullies? Is the Ku Klux Klan going to run us? Another group of bullies? Are the crooked cops going to run us? Another group of bullies? So we got to think about that. We the people, we got to be more civil. We need to be non non-violence. Think about great men that have been non-violent, and they have been able to express their points, not only their point of view, but their purpose and their purpose for their people, the people who are in agony. We have a lot of people, millions of people who are not receiving a lot of money, and we're barely making our ends meet. We've got millions of people who would love to be in food stamps, to have a little bit of leverage that has been taken away by Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has attacked the Social Security to make people who have disability be in a worse situation because they're not able to, because depending on what the rules are that are going to be implemented by the Miller man, he's going to say, well, if they can work, or somebody else can hold them out. Why do we, the government, need to hold them out? Need to give them a helping hand. So what's the purpose of the government? To bully us? Is that the purpose of the government? To turn into a bully? Dictators us? Be Cesar Chavez? Cesar Chavez. Be Hugo Chavez? Be Maduro? Be Castro? Donald Trump wants to be them. Austria is not exactly the people. I bet you we go to Austria and we talk to the people. I take a group of you people and we go to Austria and you ask them if they're happy, if they're full of joy. I bet you they're going to say no. They're all stressed out. Why? Because they can't get out. They're stuck there and they got a bully. They can't get, they don't have no freedom. So, like I said before, Trump said he would do another. It's all this secret life and double life that he has, or that he likes to exercise. The double life and the secret life. So he comes out and says a bunch of crap. And he expects us to believe the crap he says. But behind the scenes, in another room, in another chamber, he will do something totally opposite and screw us. He will rip us off. So the people believe, like to be bamboozled, and they believe him. But on the other side, he doesn't care about the people. He'll just screw them like he's doing with Social Security. He's screwing everybody with Social Security, screwing them. And that's not right. That's not right, what he's doing. He's vetoing just because Congress doesn't want to put the 230 regulations so he can scrap it, because that's what he wants to do, scrap it, because he doesn't want social media and and the internet to have legal protection. That way it can be destroyed easily by the government. There should be no legal process. So he doesn't want legal process either for himself because he lost the race, and now he says everybody fraud. There's dead people voting. There's people who came from outer space to vote. There's votes under rocks, and there's ballots over here. So what happened to everybody else? How come the turkey man is there? Mitch McConnell. How come Lindsey Graham is still in the Senate? How come Ted Cruz is still in the Senate? I mean, those are people who I mean, not maybe not Ted Cruz, but the other guy, kind of the other senator from Texas. Why is he there? I mean, if people were rigging the elections, how come those people are there? How come many of the other ones, the House representatives, they were in the ballots? They were in the ballot. They weren't separate ballots. People didn't get separate ballots. They got one ballot with a bunch of names and issues that they had to vote on. So how come only the presidential ballot was the one that portion of the ballot that got screwed? How come they didn't screw nobody else? If they were going to rig the election and commit high level fraud by rigging the election, they would have kicked out Turkey Neck and they would have kicked out Flat Face, Whitewash Face. They would have kicked them both out. And Ted Cruz, they could have kicked him out. I mean, there's so many people that will be kicked out because they're rigging the election. It's all part of the game. I mean, whoever rigs an election because they know the game, they know exactly what they're doing. So why only the president? The president doesn't mean squat. You have to kick the people who are in Congress also. You got to change the whole scenario so you can actually uh, have the election your way or the way whoever rigged it. So in the case of Donald Trump, I mean, we could say Donald Trump rigged the election in 2016. Why? Because you have a majority of Republicans, and the Republicans were running the show from 2017 to the present. And there's still a good number of Republicans that won the office because the Democrats dropped the ball. That's basically it. They dropped the ball, and Republicans been. She's a hardworking woman, and people should look at that. She's hardworking. She really is looking after her. Looks after her people. The district, whatever district number she represents in New York City, the Bronx. I mean, that takes time. Joni Ernst. I mean, whether I like her or not, that's not the point. The point is that she goes out to the 99 Iowa counties and does town hall meetings. Whether it goes one way or another way, she's making a presence there, and her image is there, and people see her, and she got reelected into back to the Senate. So those are people that are doing at least that job. Some of the policies that Joni Ernst is bringing forth, I don't agree with because the way she words them are not exactly a very kosher way to word them and look after the people and empathize with the people. I believe the people in Iowa are not going to be so happy once if they do get accepted some of those proposed legislations because Iowans, no matter how conservative you are, I mean, you want to you want to have some type of cushion. You don't want to be left out in the cold. I mean, not literally the cold because Iowa's cold weather-wise, but you don't want to be left with no defense. I mean, you want to have some leverage, and the government is the one who's providing the leverage for the people. So otherwise, what purpose is of government? I mean, help regulate climate. Yeah, that's a good point. Regulate all the smog and all the chemicals that are being shot at us from all over the place. We're eating, who knows what we're eating? We eating crap because they're putting chemicals, and then the health department is giving out some type of liquid that goes into the baking process and the cooking process for canned foods. I mean, what kind of crap is all that? And Donald Trump is talking about a rigged election by the Democrats. What did he do? He rigged the election also. So they both rigged, and who rigged it the most? I want to think it's the Trump people who were more eager to rig the election. That's the case right now. More of the Trump people wanted to rig the election, and because they wanted to rig the election, they came out of everything. So we got a Rick Allen from Georgia. You got a Jack Bergman from Mississippi. You got a Drew Ferguson from Georgia. A Bill Kinzer from Mississippi. A John Joyce from Pennsylvania. A Fred Keller from Pennsylvania. A Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania. A John Moonlander from Mississippi. A Scott Perry from Pennsylvania. Excuse me for if I mess up your name. Uh, Gary Rischenthaler from Pennsylvania. Austin Scott from Georgia. And Alan Thompson. What are all these people tied up with the Paxton lawsuit? They should be looking out for their people, not jumping on the bandwagon with some crazy nut Paxton here in Texas who sent a lawsuit, who's a frivolous lawsuit. I mean, I want to think that he can legislate in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, go over there and tell them how to do their job and do the job for them so they can do the job right. That doesn't work that way. But he did it, and he had the governor behind him. But thank God that the election came out a little bit equine with Joe Biden and Harris winning. Now I pray that these people are level headed and they will help the people. We the people need help, and I can't stress it enough. We the people need help bad. Not only to combat the coronavirus, that's something to do. That we gotta get that bug out of the way, but also economically we need to rebound. We have to open more jobs. We have to retrain people like me. Maybe you can help me get a little bit better skills and I can get a better job or perfect my skills that I already have and get a better job. I mean, that's pretty much what I need. It's pretty simple. So I leave you all with this. I bid you all good night. May God bless every one of you, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thank you and good night.